Tonight on the Black Channel. You know, there's been a lot of talk in the last couple of days about the fact that these new Epstein files, the millions of them come out, about how many people are talking about it. But you know, I got to looking at it a little bit differently here, and I was asking, you know, a lot of folks are talking, but I got to looking at the people who aren't talking. And when you start looking at that list, it starts getting very, very ominous. It really, really does. Let me go ahead and just jump right into it here with you all. You know, there are some folks who saw what I saw and noticed what I noticed. And they're talking about that from Shannon Watts. Megyn Kelly hasn't tweeted once about the Epstein files since they came out on Friday.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Oh, man. So Megyn Kelly, who is so concerned about people harming blonde-haired, blue-eyed women, Megyn Kelly, who supposedly is so concerned about that, and yet Megyn Kelly, the same Megyn Kelly who said, you know, some of Epstein's victims, you know, really, you know, it wasn't that bad because, I mean, it wasn't like they were young. I mean, they were young. I mean, they were underage, but they weren't underage. You know what I mean? There's a difference between a 14 or 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. Remember, we already covered this with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly's own words. There's a difference between, you know, a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old. That's different. Oh, okay. All right. Keep that energy. So guess what? Megyn Kelly, you all can go to Twitter and look at it. Oh, Megyn Kelly has gone radio silent. Megyn Kelly is now radio silent, probably looking for a black male somewhere that she can shift attention to. But, oh yeah, Megyn Kelly has gone radio silent. But, by the way, she's not the only one. Mehdi Hasan has pointed out, hey, y'all, Vice President J.D. Vance hasn't tweeted for 3 days.
What?
Vice President J.D. Vance has been incommunicado and hasn't had anything to say for 3 days. Isn't that interesting? He hasn't had anything to say either. Is this all just one giant coincidence here, folks? I'm asking for a friend. Is this just one giant coincidence and we all just don't get it? Maybe. I mean, could it be? All right. But I just thought I would take a moment to remind you that, yeah, by the way, whole bunch of folks have gotten real quiet. So while everybody else is talking, they're not saying anything. Although I'm going further than any of those people. You want to know who else isn't saying anything? You want to know who else has gone quiet and doesn't have anything to say about the Epstein files? You want to know who else? Why, Bill the Bigot O'Reilly.
What?
Oh, yes, folks. I'm bringing visual aids for you all. January 29th, Minnesota. January 31st. His reaction to Don Lemon's arrest. Okay, now the word about the Epstein files. 21 hours ago. 9 hours ago, Don Lemon's arrest again. 2 hours ago, Don Lemon's arrest. 9 hours ago, I'll be damned. Bill O'Reilly, he's talking about Don Lemon. Not a word about Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I have to remind you all of something. Remember, I have to bring these receipts and these invoices. I don't just tell you what you paid, I tell you what you owe. Remember, 20 years ago when Bill O'Reilly was still on television on Fox News, remember Bill O'Reilly, he made this media publicity stunt. He went on this media publicity stunt where he was all concerned about states not prosecuting child molesters. And that was a thing at the time that people in the media would try to boost their profile by claiming that they were so relevant that they could get laws changed. So Bill O'Reilly went on this crusade on Fox News about all these states need to increase their penalties for child molesters. They need to increase their penalties for that. These states are too weak and too lax on that. And he actually got some states actually succumbed to the pressure and started instituting new laws off of Bill O'Reilly. But yeah, just to show you all, it was a lie and a scam. Yeah, he don't give a damn about that. Yeah, not a damn about that. So yeah, Bill O'Reilly, curiously, ominously silent. Now, Dan Bongino is also quiet about the Epstein files. If you want to go to his Twitter page, he's not really saying anything about that. So you can go to former FBI Assistant Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Nothing to say about the Epstein files. New files just dropped. Nothing to say. I'm not done yet. Sean the Moron Hannity, for anybody who still remembers that ass clown. I don't even know if he's on TV anymore. But if anybody remembers Sean the Moron, yeah, Minnesota, LA, Minnesota, not a word. 13 hours ago, 11 hours ago, not a word. Not a word from Sean the Moron Hannity about the Epstein files. Not a word. Does that strike any of you as being incredibly ominous that your right-wing media is dead silent? I mean, you think that how blatant and flagrant the politicians are in this regard? Take a look at your media folk. If you think this is just limited to the politicians, take a look at all the media folk who have all of a sudden dummied up and gotten quiet. Oh, but I'm not done, folks. I know y'all gonna be upset, and it's like, damn, Jason, you got to be doing it like this tonight. Oh, we're gonna walk it down. We are gonna walk it down about the folks who in media don't have anything to say. Because you see, the list isn't that simple. It really, really ain't. You know who else hasn't had anything to say in several days now? Why, whiny Ben the Bigot Shapiro.
Damn!
Why, Faith folks, Ben Shapiro, who claimed, he went straight to work. He put on his beanie and he said, is Mr. Israel first? He doesn't have anything to say. Not a word to say about it. Why, he's gone silent over the weekend. He's dead quiet. Yeah, all these folk took vacations at the same damn time.
Nigga, please.
Folks, all these people took vacations at the same time? The same weekend. All these folk, they lost their phones, their Twitter accounts are locked up. All these people done gone quiet on the same weekend? Does it seem a little odd to you? These are the most so-called outspoken people, remember? Why, they were going to liberate us from the broadcast television news propaganda plantation, they called it. Remember? They were gonna liberate us, and oh, you see, they are co-conspirators. Okay. Not a word to say, Benny boy. Rather ominous, don't you think? Oh, I'm not done. Folks are listening to Jason. You're killing them. You're murdering them up in here. Oh, no. Got to give them the work and give them the business, because you see, there are other folks out there who have tried to sell you on the idea that they are counter programming, that they are not going to go for the usual stuff. They're not going to go for the usual stuff. Well, just to show you that all these right-wingers and white supremacists and whatnot, they're all in the bag too. Hey, less louder with Crowder. Damn! Oh, Steven Crowder. Hey, folks, Steven Crowder has gotten scarce. Steven Crowder, all of a sudden, doesn't know anything about the Epstein files. Now, you thought that he was some renegade. I mean, him and the Daily Wire kind of mixed it up a little bit because they didn't pay him what he wanted to get paid. Yeah, you thought Louder with Crowder was any different, any better. He's on the outside of it. No, he's right there too. All of a sudden, he ain't got nothing to say. Talking about Don Lemon. The world has gone into nuclear meltdown over Epstein, and these other folks like, I don't see no mushroom clouds. I don't feel no nuclear winter. I don't see none of that. Folks, how much did he have on how many of these people? How many of these people are knee deep off in it? The right-wingers are all eerily, disturbingly quiet this weekend without a word to say. If a person didn't know better, you would swear that they were all getting together to figure out what their story was gonna be and what the message was gonna be. Kinda interesting about this, isn't it? By the way, folks, I could actually keep going, but I think you get the idea. I mean, there is some of the usual suspects and some of the unusual suspects, but by the way, I could keep going. But I just wanted to show you all how deep off in it these folks are. I mean, they are way deep off in it. Oh, Elon Musk has been tweeting and tweeting and tweeting and tweeting. He has been protesting his innocence. He's been claiming that he wants the Epstein files out. He's trying to point the finger at other people. Elon has been, the ketamine, he just been fumbling pills. And he's up there tweeting. He's trying to shift attention and get people to sit up here and stop looking at him like that. Or why the media lies relentlessly. There need to be prosecutions. This has just been a stream of consciousness from him. Oh, fact check. No epic island vacation. True. Boy, Elon, is just coming apart at the seams over there. But you see, Elon, the Afrikaner, there's only one big problem for you, Elon. Yeah, there do need to be prosecutions. There also need to be real investigations, because here's the issue, Elon. The issue isn't, did you go to the island? Which, by the way, when we talk to your daughter, check whichever box you want. Elon, the real question here is, as I pointed out last night, Epstein was arrested in 2008. So everyone knew the cat was out of the bag in 2008, and you were still laughing it up and yucking it up and exchanging emails and, hey, can we hook up on XYZ date? In 2012, 2011, 2014, you were in contact with him well after it went public. Well after he had been arrested. You were still very much chummy and buddy with him. And y'all were still trying to schedule to be together. So you see, that's the part that Elon's not saying anything about, folks. He's talking about everything except, by the way, why were you still buddy with this guy 7-8 years after 2008 when he was arrested? He's not saying anything about that. He's just telling you, well, there's no proof I went to the island. There's definite proof that you and him were still very much friendly and very much in contact and very much eager to spend time together for a wild party. So can you explain why you were still cool with him almost a decade after 2008? Dead silence. Do not expect any of your media outlets or media platforms to ask him or grill him about that. So don't get confused about what the issue is. This is like being in court. He's going to try to mislead you that the issue is, did he go to the island? Can you prove I went to the island on these days? Can you prove I went there? And oh yeah, by the way, about that island, what? Damn! This is from Newsweek, and just to show you what a despicable, disgusting, deplorable publication they are, that they're all in on it. This is from Newsweek. Elon Musk's daughter reacts to Epstein files mention of father. You notice they said Elon Musk's daughter reacts. You can see down here, they put on posted on Threads, I can confirm we were in St. Bart's at the time specified in the emails. Damn! Now, this is not the same as saying that they went to go see Epstein, because I read the whole thing. I read the whole post there. I'll just go ahead and, I think I can go ahead and read that to you all here quickly. Let me see if I have that available. Yeah, I think I can go ahead and get that up for you all here quickly so that you can see for yourselves what was said, so that nobody can say you're putting words in their mouths or whatever. But you can see for yourselves what was said, because this is Newsweek and they're acting like it ain't no big deal. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's not a big deal, this shouldn't be very, very hard to clean this up when you think about it here. So I want to read to you exactly what they said, because they had the whole post in there. Very, very important to have that. Okay, what they said here, let me put this up on the screen so you all can read it for yourselves, or you can see it for yourselves, either now or recorded. I'm just going to speak, this is what the daughter had posted on Threads. I'm just going to speak directly instead of being vague and cryptic. I can confirm we were in St. Bart's at the time specified in the emails, and therefore I believe they are authentic. This has basically already been confirmed through he's talking about his father, Elon Musk, through Elon Musk's attempts to paint them as out of context. Denial is a river in Egypt. I knew nothing about the emails previously, so I'm learning about everything at the same time as y'all. If there's any other information I learn that I can corroborate, I will do so. I think BVI likely refers to Necker Island, but I cannot confirm that. It's a little bit difficult to ask someone, hey, what year did we go to Necker Island? It might be in regards to the Epstein files, LOL. We didn't go there as often as St. Bart's. This is Elon Musk's trans daughter. Anyway, you all get the idea. The one that he's been wigging out about. Confirming, yeah, we were in St. Bart's at that time. Yeah. Okay, but look at how the article is titled in Newsweek. Elon Musk's daughter reacts to Epstein files mention of father. They didn't say Elon Musk's daughter confirms visits to St. Bart's, visits to Caribbean during Epstein. They didn't say that, just daughter reacts. These are the same people who they will not hear of it. Donald Trump, he lost the 2020 election. Not allegedly, you just lost it. Okay. But here, well, you know, I mean, it reacts. I mean, he responds. I mean, had some comments. Do you realize how deep off in this thing that the media, and not just the old broadcast media, the old print media, broadcast media, the so-called internet media, man, they are all under Epstein's thumb, allegedly from the grave. Jeffrey Epstein is allegedly dead, and yet these folks are covering for him from the grave. They are either dead silent or they're attempting to explain away anything that anybody says to the contrary. Which is why I said last night, you have not convinced me yet that he's dead, because this is not the way folks act about somebody who's dead. This is how you act about somebody who you're afraid that if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, he will exact retribution. So is this the way that folks act about somebody who is safely dead and helpless and can't say anything? Or does this sound like the kind of cover up you expect from somebody who is alive and well? And you are afraid of what he will say or what he will do next. I'm just saying, folks, I didn't say he's still alive. I'm just saying that based on the way these people are acting, this has not convinced me he's dead. I'm not sure he's alive, but you have not convinced me he's dead. Not when you act like this, it don't. Not when you act like this. There are other aspects of this that people have not been talking about. Now, I'm going to take an opportunity here to do that for you here. Jeffrey Epstein would like to give you all his ideas on eugenics. They've been passing around the interview that he did with Steve Bannon. That got released also. So Steve Bannon kind of been smarting off at Trump. So I've been letting you all know, Trump has done this deliberately to let all these folk know who've been talking greasy and talking sideways that, by the way, y'all better back up off me. All of a sudden, all of them have gotten real nice. I mentioned this last night. They've gotten real nice. And then Trump starts dropping files to let them know, yeah, you're on my bumper about different issues. You better watch out. You better watch out. I can put you on Front Street in a minute. So they have released like this 2-hour interview that Steve Bannon did with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, let me just tell you, for those of you who've never heard him speak, if you never heard his interviews before, he's not this genius. When you listen to him talk, this ain't no damn financial genius. This isn't some guru or swami. This isn't some idiot savant. He's just an idiot. He's not an expert on any damn thing. And you're about to hear it for yourselves. You tell me if he sounds like some guy who's going to be speaking to people about supercomputers and transcendent intelligence and AI and microbiology. You listen to what you're about to hear here in a moment, because he's got some choice words about black people. What? Because they always do. And I want you to hear the way he talks, and you tell me if this is a multi-billionaire genius sitting in the room with the most intelligent, most enlightened, most sophisticated experts in politics and biology and science and technology and industry. You tell me if that's what you hear here.
Ready. In respect to the unexplainable world, we almost know nothing. Women, again, sense it. And instead of Larry Summers, I won't digress too much, but Howard Gardner early on said there's not one form of intelligence. It's not mathematical intelligence. There's emotional intelligence, this kinesthetic intelligence. You know, there's this argument that I reject that black people are less intelligent than white people. It's not true. We know, for example, that if I was in the forest and I had to run from the lion or figure out a way not to be eaten, and my competition is a local African, I'm the one who's getting eaten because they have the intelligence to deal with their local environment. So it's just different. It's not better, it's not worse, but there's many differences amongst different types of people. And so people have different intelligences, and they excel in some intelligences usually and less so in others.
When did it come?
So you have just heard the brilliant mind of the enlightened, entrepreneurial, international business mogul who was possibly in between Jeffrey Epstein. There it was. Are you not entertained? Are you not impressed? Now, by the way, we have all heard those statements before about there's different types of IQ, there's different types of intelligence. Please understand, this is invented and contrived when they stopped segregating and they actually started opening things like sports, entertainment, business and stuff, and we started excelling and surpassing. It was only when that happened that all of a sudden they invented a new term. Why, there's different types of intelligence, different types of IQ. So instead of them just saying, hey, all that mess was garbage and wrong, no, they just said, okay, we have a whole new lie to swing on you. And my thing about it is, by the way, when you took a look around the room, I wonder how many folks who were there agreed with these sentiments, since birds of a feather flock together. I wonder how many all those other folks there agreed. We know Elon Musk's white supremacy. We know that. We know Donald Trump's. We know Bill Clinton's. And there are a bunch of folks in so-called academia and business that he rolled with. And by the way, I just think that when this guy's in the room and y'all like him so much, yeah. Wondering how many of all them other folks who were at the table that they agree with these sentiments, these obvious white supremacist talking points, that they agree with them. So in case you all were not aware, the files been dropping. The files have been dropping. Folks have been running. People have been hiding. They don't know what to do. It's time for all these media folks to rise and shine. And they've gotten incredibly quiet. Folks, I hate to sound like Mel Gibson, talking about white supremacists. I hate to sound like Mel Gibson from the first Lethal Weapon movie, but remember when the house blew up and he was talking to Danny Glover? And he was like, man, we got mercury switches and, mercenaries and special ops. What the hell have we gotten ourselves into? Folks, what the hell have we gotten ourselves into here? What in the hell is really going on? That he's got folk this quiet, this shook from the grave. You got people talking all kinds of crazy and all kinds of strange here. And it's like, man, what the hell are we in the middle of here? Yes, we His people are in the White House covering for him. His people got their fingers on the nuclear buttons. His people got their guns with the Gestapo. His people are making the laws. His people are saying your electric bill is going to spike for these AI data centers, which we've already covered, by the way. Jeffrey Epstein wants to know about that. Although, if we really want to get into it, AI is not about being predictive, because long language models are not predictive. What they are very good at is collating and collecting information and filtering through it. Now, that long language models are good for is narrowing things down. So what you will have are far more efficient databases of information. You don't have general intelligence yet in AI, so that can't be what it's for. No, AI, however, is going to be the long language models and the way that they're using AI today. That is essential for what Palantir does. Yes, for what Palantir does and what Oracle does. And I submit to you all that the fact that they want to build they're building these data centers anywhere and everywhere, I submit to you that that's too large of a build out to be useful, quote unquote, nationally. You don't need that much nationally. However, if what you really require is local computation, that you need a place that can crunch a bunch of numbers and crunch a bunch of data and filter a bunch of stuff locally, which is something I haven't heard anybody talk about. If you're going to do deep state, deep level surveillance, you can have one central database, sure, but that's only if all you're going to be doing is plucking information. If you need to crunch numbers and filter things and whatnot, well, you really want to do that more locally, especially if what you are doing is trying to control a local population. You wouldn't have one police station in Washington, D.C. You're going to have police stations all over the place. In the chat room, David3985. So glad you think that everybody's a victim here. Let me go ahead and get you up on Zoom right quick. So, David, very glad that you have weighed in on that. We're so glad to hear that, especially in the age of Epstein. So let's go ahead and get you up on Zoom here. David3985, so glad. You got 2 minutes to be on Zoom. We'll go ahead and get that up here for you. He would like to inform us all about that. So we'll all, of course, be thrilled to get the brilliance, genius, and insights. But folks, when you see this kind of build out coming, do you understand that these are budgets that previously were reserved only for war and militaries? These are budgets, the way they're rushing through these permissions and rushing through these permits. You know, usually it's a boondoggle to get developments built this big anywhere. It would take you years to get these things approved. However, they've been getting this stuff done in, blazing time with nothing in their way. Man, look here. Don't you understand that there's more than meets the eye? And it goes everywhere, all the way to the top. Well, Jason, what is the point here? The point is, I'm just going to say this just like it is. I'm just going to say this to you all just like it is. Anybody who ever saw the video game Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid was about what? An AI. An AI that had been created to control societal sanity. Not to develop content, but to create context. To remember what the Colonel said that I'm an AI and our job is to sift through the mountains of stupid information that you human beings collect like garbage filling a landfill. It's our job to pluck out the useful information and to discard everything else. Remember? Hideo Kojima talked about this decades ago, that AI's purpose would be to create context, that you would see events and then the AI would start to change the news or change what you saw in order to mold and shape how you interpreted what you just saw. Folks, that would be to be able to do this on a level for 350 million people. That's a gargantuan amount of computing power you would need. That's not just one or two places. Yeah, you're going to need an enormous amount of data processing if you want to finally control the thoughts and ideas and what gets to people. Well, now it all makes sense. Well, how did they sell this to you? Remember, they told you, oh, we're selling it to you. First of all, we're giving it to you free, but we're selling it to you as you can ask questions and it'll answer any of your questions. Hey, you want a recipe? It'll give it to you. If you want to know where the best movies are, it'll tell you. If you want to ask it to write your college thesis paper, boom, it's done. Hey, you want to go file a lawsuit? It'll put one together for you here. It'll simplify all these things. Well, yeah, that's the part for you. However, if you are Palantir, you have something else in mind. And I submit to you that Jeffrey Epstein was very much interested in that. Now, why would he be interested in that, folks? Do you understand what you can do when you can confuse people on a societal level? Right now, folks are passing around pictures of New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani. They said that his mother was in the Epstein files. Okay. But right now, folks have been passing around a false, phony AI picture with Zohran Mamdani holding his mother holding a baby with Jeffrey Epstein standing behind her. Folks, that's fake. It's fake because by that time frame, Zohran wouldn't have been a baby. So people are out here making up AI images, making them up, and then sitting up here putting them out. And by the time at this point right now, you're being flooded. Even today, we're flooded with so much of it. Do you realize how long it'll be before people realize that what they're passing around is fake? Okay, but here's the real problem. You're so swamped in it. A lot of folks are just like, meh. Are people even taking out the time to correct these things anymore? There's the real problem. The problem isn't just that fake stuff is being put out. The thing is, are people just basically shrugging their shoulders and saying, oh, well, and no one's even acknowledging that, hey, that's fake. 5 years ago, it would have been a scandal. Today, people are just walking by like, meh. They're not even stopping to correct it. As the Colonel said in Metal Gear Solid, no one is invalidated, but no one is right either. No one is invalidated, proven wrong, but no one is proven right either. Now, do you understand that that is a pedophile, con artist, molester, tyrant, propagandist paradise where you can just put your stuff out there and whoever puts the lie out first gets first mover advantage, and then everybody else is just stuck in the quagmire of it? They've been so desensitized, they're not even concerned with pushing back against it anymore. So how people proceed in the new reality just depends on how big of a megaphone you got and did you tell the lie first. Yeah, you need an enormous amount of computing power to pull that off. You sure do. If you're going to micromanage people's daily lives at that granular level, yeah, you need enormous amounts of computing power, both to keep them distracted so they accept this new technology. And then when all the bad things happen because of it, well, they're so used to using it that they don't want to let go of it. And now you have controlled an entire planet. I think we have David over here on Zoom. At least I think that we do here. So let's go ahead and see if we can get David up here on Zoom right quick. David, make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on just so we don't have any trolling issues. YouTube is not going to see you. The folks won't see you, just me. But we just make sure you're in good faith and we don't have any trolling issues. Just make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on just so I can make sure you're not trolling the program. And don't worry about the rest of YouTube. All right, David, we will give you 5 seconds to go ahead and take care of that, or you'll be banned. So I'll give you 5 seconds to make sure you have your camera and microphone turned on. David, I'll give you 3 more seconds. Make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. All right, David, we'll give you 1 more second here. Make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. All right, David is apparently, I don't know, debuting for his OnlyFans. Whatever the case may be here. So David was offered a fair opportunity to be on. He kept turning his camera on and then turning it off. So perfectly fine. Look, just understand, I don't have to debunk the white supremacists. I don't have to debunk the trolls and cocoons. They debunk themselves. If they could refute it, folks, they would just go ahead and do it. They can't. And thus the phony propagandistic pseudo-reality I just told y'all about. Everybody now they're not even trying to be smart enough anymore. They're not even trying to be accurate. They're not even trying to be factual. It's whoever can tell the lie first, whoever gets the lie out there first, whoever gets the lie out there first and loudest. And AI is the ultimate tool for fabricating phony realities. From visuals to audio, to documentation, and of course, the ultimate battleground, history itself. Right now, in record time, people are no longer going down. When they go to Google, they're just using Google now to ask questions, and the AI overview comes at the top of it. And so most folks are not going below the AI overview to go check actual sources. Whatever the AI tells it, folks say that's the answer they're going with, even though all of us know that half the time that thing is wrong. What? Folks, by the way, half the time the AI results from the AI overview is wrong. It's just a long language model pulling information from other websites and other sources, but it's not fact checking it. It's going on a preponderance of dimensions and says, oh, well, here's your answer. That thing is wrong on a regular basis. Forget the so-called hallucinations. I'm just talking about the results you're getting are wrong. In the chat room, you said it's wrong, but it's fast. Well, yeah, because Steve Jobs conditioned everyone to want information to be at their fingertips, and you want it here and you want it now. I want it all and I want it now, as the old Queen song said. Okay, so now you've had 2 decades being conditioned to value speed over accuracy. You have been conditioned to value speed over accuracy. Give it to me now. Instant gratification. And so now you don't care if what you got so fast is complete junk food. Hello, McDonald's. As long as it's fast and served up and slopped out, we'll take it. So you've been conditioned to value speed over accuracy. Who cares if what you're being told is completely wrong? Who cares if how it's telling you to program your infotainment system, to program your remote control, to fix your drywall? Who cares if what it's telling you is wrong? I got my answer quickly. I got my response quickly. And so what you were doing just a couple of years ago, going down, when you got results, you checked website after website below the results. People, what you were doing was corroborating things. By having to go to one or more website, you actually had documentation and corroboration. Now that's been removed. Okay, now I'm going to take you all to the next step. You do know that ultimately Google is going to remove search results, right?
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell.
Oh, don't believe me. You can go Google that for yourselves, people. Google has already said that their ultimate goal is to remove search results. That you go to Google, you type in what it is you want, and now you will get one result. Not pages after pages. By the way, they're going to tell you that, hey, you know, we bring you back 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 pages of results when you look for something, and you're only going to look at the first 2 pages anyway. Hell, most folk don't make it past the first few returns. So it's like, why don't we just, all the rest of that is waste. We're bringing you a bunch of stuff you weren't going to use that you've never used. So we're just making it all more efficient for you. So instead of you getting any search results, you will now just get one. We will go through all the, listen for the words, the filtering. What did I just tell you? We will go through the filtering and through the searching and through the looking, and we will distill it down to the answer that you need. Well, Jason, why do you need 1,000 data centers for that? People, anybody familiar with Wall Street? Hell, anybody familiar with the internet right now? You've always had data centers, and you had to have more than one because the further that the data center is away from the person doing search results, the longer it takes for you to get your results. So they've got Google and Apple and them have always had data centers around the world to facilitate their search engines, to facilitate their cloud computing. Hello, Amazon. They've been had data centers that handle different things. So your cloud computing and your search results, they've been had that. But they wanted to have, they have more than one because otherwise it would be a slow process to, if you only had one data center trying to talk to all these people around the world. So you have multiples of them to decrease the amount of time it takes for people to get their services. Well, if we're going to be micromanaging people's daily lives and search results, you're going to need a whole lot more data centers than you had before because they're going to need to get their answers quick, fast, and in a hurry. And here you are. Does it all make sense now? Okay, well, that's for you as the consumers. What about the police? What about the government? Oh, well, they're going to get priority and they're going to get stuff quick, fast, and in a hurry. Are you driving without insurance? Hell, do you owe a traffic ticket? Oh, the cameras on the cars, now they'll have information, only it will be global. So any police officer anywhere will be able to tap into the AI system if they recognize your car, not your license plate, if they just recognize the car itself. Oh, Flock is just the first generation. You ain't seen nothing yet. Flock is just the first generation. Wait till you see the second generation. Not something that recognizes your license plate, but that recognizes specifically your car. The same way that it does facial recognition, the distance between your pupils and between your nose and your chin, how it's able to do that. Yeah, imagine one that can recognize your car. Oh, I recognize those dents. I recognize that shade. I recognize those flakes, those paint flakes on it. I recognize that one. And you're like, it's just another BMW. No, that's yours. How the hell did you know it was mine? I can see these 3 small dents on your hood. I can see where it's got these small pock marks on the front bumper. How the hell do you see that? I can't see that with my eyes. I can see it. The camera can see it. Yeah, we recognize your car, not your license plate. We recognize the car. Yeah, we can go through a parking lot and find your car. Even if you hide the license plate, well, we can find it. While folks are sitting around talking about tracking devices, you ain't seen nothing yet. That was what Jeffrey Epstein was into and had all these other folks together there. And by the way, for the government that he worked for over there in Israel, that's the kind of thing they want. They have always, you go look up Amdocs, long before we had Pegasus, go look up Amdocs. They've been in the business of data collection in one small, neat little package. Rather efficient when you think about it, because think about this for a few moments. What do you do when you're a nation and you don't have any natural resources? You don't have any oil. You don't have any lithium. You don't have any diamonds. You're not a very big place. You're not near any natural resources that have any value. So all you got is you. You're in a desert, so it's not like you're a great place to hang out in, to be totally honest. No disrespect. So you're not a tropical environment. So what do you have that could make you rich? What resource could you have? Oh, we're the world's intelligence system. You know, you can offshore all those illegal things you want to do. Damn! What? Remember extraordinary rendition? They didn't torture anybody on United States soil, well, except Guantanamo Bay. But they didn't torture anybody on U.S. soil. Remember, they had the so-called black sites? Well, that was specifically to circumvent the Constitution of the United States. And there's no such thing as circumventing the Constitution, by the way, folks. By the way, one more thing, cut the bull crap. There is no such creature as circumventing the Constitution. You are either breaking the Constitution or obeying it, but there is no circumventing it. So they sent people to Egypt and Pakistan and let the Egyptians and the Pakistanis and others torture them, and told you that wasn't unconstitutional because we let somebody else torture them, which of course is a damn lie. You are breaking the Constitution. Well, if they want to violate your Fourth Amendment rights, well, we sent the information to Israel, and their people filtered it, and these are the results they sent back to us. So you see, we were not involved in it. All that AI data technology crunching numbers where your local AI data center saw your car. We sent the information to Israel. They confirmed it. They sent us the results back, and now we're here to arrest your ass and your family. Now go back to making your pictures. Oh, that all makes sense now when you think about it that way, doesn't it? Folks, if you're going to monitor 350 million, 400 million people, you need a gargantuan amount of data processing ability. That's why do you think China's done the exact same thing to control their population? And now they want to do it here. The goal is simple: to monitor everything you do, to create a profile of you. And if anything happens outside the profile, bammo, you go to the top of the list, and it will be the AI that says, check out this person, check out this person, check out this person, flag this person, we flag this person, I flag this person, I flag this person. YouTube is already doing it for community strikes. These websites are already doing this for community strikes. There is an AI doing it. It's not a person anymore. It's an AI doing it. So, of course, it's all garbage and lies. That's what Jeffrey Epstein was helping these folks to work on. Hey, let's sit down and talk about systems for societal control. And of course, the old system was the media to control the information that you get. Well, now they're going to plug these things, use AI to make more complex algorithms to deny you information. Now the focus is denying you information. It used to be getting you the news you could use. Now their focus is on making sure you don't get any news and don't get any information. Please remember what they say, reliable news sources. Well, the so-called reliable sources, when you say that, you're talking about the big corporations, the New York Times, Newsweek, Time, all the people that I've proven to you all, they are the most disreputable. And they're going to tell you that those are the responsible, reliable news sources. CNN and CBS, which is now owned by Larry AI Data Center Oracle Ellison. And we're not gonna, I want to just say right now, it's gonna frighten you a little bit, but hey man, we're not gonna make it to the Google removes the search results era. You're already in it. When Megyn Kelly and Dan Bongino and Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro and Bill O'Reilly, do you see how long this damn list is getting? When these folk who have already been boosted by Google and YouTube and Twitter in the social stratosphere and in their follower accounts, these are the folks that people go to for their news and information analysis now, thinking that they have escaped the corporate media plantation of propaganda. And oh yeah, these folks are the chief overseers. You thought you had escaped propaganda with CNN and CBS and ABC. And I'm telling y'all, man, the folks that people are going to now, they're already censoring and quiet. They're already doing it. You're worried about Google removing the search results. And I'm like, man, the human beings, if we dare call Megyn Kelly and this ilk that, the people over here, man, they're already censoring everything. They're already a part of the system. They're already up and running. They're already removing and deleting things. They're already quiet. So if you don't go along the right place, you ain't going to find it. Now, I want to explain to you all a few things because right now we're in a deadly dangerous era. You see, the reason for the Epstein file dump being such a treacherous move is that they simply bury you in so much data and so much information. What we used to be able to do was you could go to the New York Times or the Washington Post, and the writer of the article would go through all the information and all the facts and figures, go through the photos and the documentation, and they would distill it down, and you would have all this information given to you, all the news fit for print, and you would have a pretty thorough review of what happened. Folks, if you go look for this latest document dump, man, nobody is going through all that stuff and giving you everything, all the photographs. They're not doing that. Nobody has put together an article and says, here is all of the most damning information. Here is all of the most important damning information, the most important damning emails, all the unanswered questions. No one, not even the venerable Whitney Webb, nobody's doing that. No one is sifting through all of that to pick out the stuff that you really need to see. So when I showed you the pictures of Bill Clinton swimming with Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm just like, okay, we got that, but take a look at everything else we missed. You know, with that many things, there's going to be a bunch of stuff you missed. Now, ordinarily, you would have a company that pays a bunch of employees to go look through that. Maybe we would call that company, I don't know, the New York Times, the LA Times, Miami Herald, Chicago Tribune, Newsweek, Time, CNN, CBS, I don't know, something like that. You would have a news organization, we'll just call it a news organization, that would actually go looking through all of that and would go find that for you and bring that to you. That's what you would have with their immense manpower resources. These people have been going to school and college for journalism. Well, wouldn't that be what you would have? And yet it isn't. If you don't go to Twitter and look through it yourself, you have to go find it on your own because there is no website doing this. At best, you have somebody like DropSite. They have their other Google files and stuff to try to organize the files, but not to tell you, hey, here's Jeffrey Epstein dancing with some minors. Here's Jeffrey Epstein with Bill Clinton and this girl over here. Here's Jeffrey Epstein with Ehud Barak. It's not doing that. Here's the email of Jeffrey Epstein talking about torturing people. Not putting all of that together in one place so that you have it all distilled down. People, that is denying you information. That's denying it to you. And all these people who got fired from Fox News and have gone to the internet allegedly to reinvent themselves, and what they're showing you is they're no different. They're no different. They're all part of the same media government mafioso cabal. Now, here's the real issue. The real issue is, are the people who listen to them going to be fed up with it and dissatisfied with it and saying they're not going to accept this? That's the real question. Because I would like to take you a little bit further into this tonight. I'd like to take you a little bit further here because I think you need to realize this, people. They're all in this together, and let me explain to you what I mean by that. One of the things that has become frighteningly apparent from the Epstein files is that all these people know each other. What? Damn! People, Gavin Newsom wants to run for president of the United States. Gavin Newsom was governor of California, mayor of San Francisco. Gavin Newsom, cousins with Nancy Pelosi.
What? Nigga, what?
We're not going to get into that. Somebody was cousins from 15 centuries ago. None of that garbage. Some of the some of the numbskull, idiotic folk on the internet think constitutes being a cousin. I'm not talking about idiot folk like that. We're not talking about, well, yeah, I mean, they got a cousin from 12 generations back. 3,000 years ago, they had a cousin. No, folks, not that. These people all know each other. Kamala Harris to downtown Willie Brown to Gavin Newsom, she knows all those people. I'm not talking about these are indirect lines of separation. These are direct lines of connection. Zohran Mamdani's mama knew Jeffrey Epstein. Now he's the mayor of New York. Take a look at all the folk that Epstein knew before they got where they are today. While we were talking about Skull and Bones 25 years ago. Do you realize that these people all know each other? Everybody who gets raised up in politics, everybody who gets raised up in the media now, you go take a look and it's like, by the way, before you ever became famous, before you ever got elected, before you ever became a billionaire, I couldn't help but notice you already were rubbing elbows with some pretty damn rich and important people before you ever got there. Now, if the average person had that type of life experience, well, things would be a little bit different, but the average person does not encounter multimillionaires and billionaires before they get off the ground. You got to get something going first. But we see all these other folks, oh, they didn't need that. They didn't need any of that. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, or whatever last name he's using this year. You go take a look at their associates. You go take a look at their assistants. You go take a look at their lawyers. People, you're just going to see, a toxic, incestuous soup of connectivity. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's connected to everybody. Everybody's mobbed up to everybody. Not even least, but most importantly, the banks. Now, those are the silent partners that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about that. The banks are some of the biggest beneficiaries and the deepest off in the paint. And they're the most quiet ones in the room. And they're connected to all of them. The banks are connected to all of them. Folks, Elon Musk, when they have their parties and get-togethers, that's why I was telling you all last night, they all got private planes. They all got private boats. They've all got private get-togethers. Folks, with people going to Jeffrey Epstein's place, think about this for a few moments. You have what? At that time, if you got Sergey Brin, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates, I'm talking about from 10 years ago, in the same room together, you've already got over $1 trillion of wealth sitting in the same room, and nobody knows they're having a get-together. The biggest names in Silicon Valley meeting up at Jeffrey Epstein's house, trillions of dollars of value in one room, and nobody knows they're there. But they made it a point to be there. They know each other, dude. They all know each other. Sam Altman and Elon Musk, man. There's nobody you're gonna name who wasn't already off in the game. By the way, has anybody looked into Steve Jobs? What? Damn! By the way, I'm wondering how y'all can go look into that one for yourselves. Is Steve Jobs in the Epstein files anywhere? Is Apple in the Epstein files anywhere? That would be curiously absent. That would be curiously absent. How much does it mean to them? How important is it to them? What do they know? Why do they need to know it? Folks, these people all know each other. Their job is for you not to figure that out. You think that they know each other the way you know them just by an article you read. No, they know each other, man. They know each other. This is why you can go down the damn list. There's nobody in politics today who is getting elevated at the national level who basically is not a pawn of somebody else. Peter Thiel has a number of politicians that he's sponsored and got in his back pocket. J.D. Vance is just the one that's gotten to the highest level. So think about, I told y'all about that before, frightening as it may be. Elon Musk owns Trump, he's president. Peter Thiel owns J.D. Vance, vice president. The PayPal Mafia White House. The PayPal Mafia White House. They're not on their way to taking it over, people. They've already taken it over. They're not on the way to buying a government. They've already bought it. They already bought it. Don't you deceive yourself into thinking, well, if you just vote Democrat, you'll get away from that. They own both of those parties. From the top to the bottom to the local level. Think about that for a few moments. San Francisco was the incubator for so-called Silicon Valley. Did you ever think that term, Silicon Valley, these are all created, fabricated terms. But these are people rich enough to say this is going to be the area where we stake out our new claim at. But you see, we need to make this thing build and we need to make it grow. So it needs to be open, but it also needs to be closed. So how can we make it simultaneously open and closed? We know we'll make it the most expensive place on the planet. If you don't have $3 million, you can't buy a shoebox to live in. You aren't going to be able to buy a milk crate to live in if you ain't got $3 million in San Francisco. So you see, the place is perfectly open, but at the same time closed. Except to the very folks there at the top. Please remember, people, when you say that the only penalty or that the barrier to entry is a financial barrier, listen to me and remember this for the rest of your days. When somebody tells you that the barrier to entry into a place or into a business or to be accepted into a school or a bank or a city, if they tell you that the barrier to entry is financial, then what they're telling you is that the barrier is for the poor. Because obviously there is no barrier for the rich. If the only thing that keeps you out is money, well, by definition, you said this is for the rich. When people sell you on this idea of toll roads, toll bridges, out of control, crazy housing prices, and tell you that you can't come in because you can only come in if you got enough money, well, that's a barrier for the poor. That is not a barrier for everyone. That's just specifically one for you. And what do you know? It's the same group of villains who keep promoting that particular stratagem all the time. And so when you take a look at places like Manhattan or San Francisco, these same ultra-wealthy forces got together, bought off a city at the local level, bought off all the politicians, have installed their fellow countrymen from the arenas of degeneracy and debauchery. All the females in the United States Congress, or at least at this point, most of them have absolutely lurid sexual histories. So, what do you know? No wonder somebody selected you. Got a bunch of chicks who turned a bunch of tricks, and now you're the vice president of the United States. Not for long, but anyway. You think that's accidental? Let me go a little bit further here for one more again about that political angle here, folks, about that political angle. You know what else AI is very good for? AI is long language models. You know what that's very good for? It's very good for identifying how someone speaks. Remember what I said before? It's not general intelligence, but what it is good for is taking massive amounts of data, filtering through it, distilling it down, subscribing context to it, and coming to a result. AI has proven that long language models have proven very effective at being able to analyze how someone speaks. So you see, even if you post something online using an alias, using an avatar, using a made-up account, using a dummy account, Why, AI can analyze literally every post on Twitter and tell you which ones you've claimed and which ones are you that you haven't claimed. Yeah, this dummy account over here, yeah, this is yours too. But I'm using a VPN. But I'm using Tor browser. But I'm using another IP. Yeah, we went through it here. We analyzed all of these. This is your etymological footprint.
Nigga, what?
This is your etymological footprint. Your etymological fingerprint. Remember, you already have professors who have been able to, with the Unabomber. Remember? The Unabomber, it was a professor of language and linguistics who figured out that it was most likely the candidate was going to be a person who's a professor. He's well educated, probably from the West Coast. Yeah. By analyzing the Unabomber's manifesto, they were able to narrow down who it was. So people had already begun to suspect Ted Kaczynski, but by analyzing the way he spoke in his manifesto, they were able to start putting it together with the book that he wrote. Well, that's what human beings can do. Now imagine the outrageous computational ability of AI, whose whole species is language and generating long language models. These are the words you speak. These are the way you talk. Remember, for those of you who did not know, most people in the English language, we have, I think, about 1 million words. I don't want to get into like terms and things like that, but you have over 1 million words in our American English language. Okay, but the problem is in daily use, the average person only uses 200 or 300 words. Out of a language library of millions of words, the average person only uses about 200 or 300 a day. So you only have a certain library or index of words that you use on a regular basis. Okay, but your vocabulary, your library of words that you use on a regular basis, it is going to be different from other people. So you see, no two people's libraries or indexes of words, how you use them, which ones you use, how you use them, how often you use them, it's not going to be the same. So do you see immediately there, you have a unique vocabulary that you draw upon. AI was built to analyze that. That's what AI was built for. And all they got to do is feed it every post on Twitter, and it will be able to tell us, yeah, this is you. This is you. Well, Jason, okay, so what? Why does that matter? Because if you're a real one, then you want to run for office, somebody's fixing AI on you. Somebody's fixing AI on you. Remember, they just did that for the folks with the NBA betting scandal. One of the referees, y'all can go look it up for yourselves. He was a black fellow, one of the referees. They're talking about he was using a dummy account. So they're already looking at folk doing things they can go after him for. Already doing that. So the possibilities are endless. You don't have to admit who you are anymore. They can take a look at this stuff and tell you, oh, your whole entire online history. You said this, you said that. They'll be able to, here's the crazy part about it, and they'll be able to find it within seconds. What? It's not going to take them years of looking. Did you all know that there are programs out there that scrape all these social media websites? I mean, most of you may know about Social Blade, but there are Meta, and Mark Zuckerberg in particular has tried to block them from doing that. Folks, there are programs, bots that go and scrape every page on Facebook, every page on Twitter, every page on Instagram. every page on Threads. There are bots that go and get all that information. So they know these are private companies. They know every post you've put up on Twitter, every post picture you put on Instagram, every comment you've left on anybody's YouTube page, not just yours. If you go on another person's YouTube page, leave a comment there. These are private companies that have scraped these gargantuan websites, and they can tell you anything that you've posted, anything you shared, when were you online. They can do it all. Private companies. Before long language models, before AI, you could get that. Imagine what it'll be now. So you want to get into politics or something, and next thing you know, all of a sudden they digging up stuff. But remember, that'll only be used against you. You will not be able to use that against the powerful because you won't be able to be heard. You'll be silenced. But for them, it's like, oh, here you go. Here it is. And it will be many of your so-called right-wingers that you thought were independent and you thought they'd escaped the corporate system. And it's like, no, man, they're right there with it. They are right there with it. The media, the government, they all belong to Epstein now. They all belong to all the many Epsteins out there. They all belong to them. Do not deceive yourself or fool yourself into believing otherwise. They belong to all of them. All of them. And you're not going to be able to undo it or change that. The best thing you can do now is understand that everything we've told you has been accurate and that you cannot trust any of these people, not simply because they're white supremacists, but because they have been bought off and paid for. And they are working for the very folk that you think they were going to snitch on. Now you find out why they didn't do that. And this is just the short list I gave you tonight. If you all go keep looking, you'll see the list gets more putrid and longer. It gets more putrid and it gets longer. However, you might disagree. Therefore, we've gone ahead and posted the link to the Zoom at the top of the chat room. There, you are welcome to go ahead and weigh in with us and give us a call, of course. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out to Stay Positive. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. To Mr. Waits, to my man, Mr. Richburg. Thank you very much for your support, brothers. To Cyberdyne 100. All right, to my man Keenan. And to everyone else here who has contributed toward tonight's program, giving out memberships. Thank you very much for that as well here. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break here. When we come back, I got some other things I want to go ahead and show you all. A few things I got to mix up in here, but we're going to do that too. So stay around for that. This is the Black Channel.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. B in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we ripping the games. Used to be the teacher.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com. www.blackchannelaya.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. Now, folks, I got a number of things I want to run through here real quick. I'm going to run through a few things here real quickly here because there's a lot going on. You know, if you had an honest government over here, maybe it would look a little bit more like China. What? Maybe look a little more like China. I mean, over there in China, when you take a look right here, they just executed 11 gang members, but wait till you hear what it was for. From CNN, China executed 11 gang members of a gang who ran billion-dollar criminal empire in Myanmar. China has executed 11 members of the notorious Ming family criminal gang. By the way, this included some females too, by the way. So they believe in women's rights over there. You got the right to get executed along with everybody else. The Ming family was one of the so-called four families of northern Myanmar. Crime syndicates accused of running hundreds of compounds dealing in internet fraud. Let me go ahead and throw this up on the screen so y'all can see this here. Fair use CNN. Throw this up on the screen so you all can see this here. But they were engaged in internet fraud, prostitution, and drug production. So in China, doing what Jeffrey Epstein and all of his clients and friends did, that gets you executed over there. Hell, internet fraud, Logan Paul, watch out. What? Donald Trump, watch out. Damn. All these folks did little scams and stuff. China's like, it's like, yeah, okay, we don't just investigate that. It's like, get your ass in this electric chair. Yeah. Excessive force, yeah, and get in this electric chair. By the way, and whose members held prominent positions in the local government and militia aligned with Myanmar's ruling junta. Oh, man. The 11 people executed were sentenced to death in September after being found guilty of crimes including homicide, illegal detention, and fraud, Xinhua news agency reported. Two of the defendants appealed.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man.
Well, I guess you gotta try. Man, you in China talking about an appeal. You are in communist China talking about, I filed my appeal. It's like, okay, I hope you didn't pay your lawyers for that one. Two of the defendants appealed, and the case was elevated to the Supreme People's Court, China's highest court, which upheld the original verdict. All right. You know, you kind of feel like the Quintessons in the original Transformers movie from 1986. Would you like to beg for your lives? It sometimes helps, but not often. That's what I thought when I saw that right there. You want to beg for your life? It sometimes helps, but not often. It's rare. Not gonna be for you. They've already made the headlines. It's like, oh no, you gonna make this trip. So, boy, I wonder, no wonder you don't have a Jeffrey Epstein network over there in China like that, because if America was run like China, at least in that regard, there'd be a whole bunch of American politicians and business people who they would be taking that Jeffrey Epstein prison trip to. I mean, the way he came out of prison, allegedly. the way he came out. All right, folks. I got people piling over here on Zoom, so y'all go ahead and do that. I'm going to get to you here in just a moment, but there's a little bit of housekeeping I want to do here first, so I'm going to just run through some things really quickly here. I got to run through some stuff really quickly just so I can go ahead and do that. At least I'm going to try. So first, we're going to start with the serious, I suppose. Let me just start with the serious here. At least we're going to try to here. All right, so we're in the middle of Black History Month here. We're in the middle of Black History Month, and I would be remiss if we didn't go over a couple of things. I thought it was very nice that somebody posted this because the white supremacists can't stand it. And of course, we're here to make sure for that. They say, remember when Google dropped this Black History Month commercial in 2020? That's what honoring Black history looks like, telling the truth loudly, not sanitizing it when it makes people uncomfortable.
I'm telling you already. But just like life. All right. Air Jordan ready to hang on.
National Oprah Winfrey Show!
Let the haters hate. Let them scream and let them squeal. Ah! Well, the white supremacists out there, they were hating on that, y'all. And there was even more to hate on because this came up also. Damn! Oh, man, Angel Reese. Y'all tell me why Big Sexy decided to get into some good twabba. Oh, tell me why did Angel Reese decide to kick up some good twabba? Angel Reese said, I love being black. Happy Black History Month. With the heart on it. Now, if she said, I love being gay, if she said, I love being Irish, if she said, I love being Jewish, if she said, I love being Catholic, but of course she makes the mistake of saying, I love being black, and of course she knew that was coming. The white supremacists are just screaming. Ah! Let them scream, let them squeal, girl. Go ahead and do it to them. Go ahead and do it to them. Give them a reason to be upset and angry this weekend. They sitting in the cold. They're sitting in the ice. They're shivering. They're upset. They're snowed in and can't get out the house. And then they got to sit here and look at that. I'll be damned, but they just sitting there. They're sitting up here punching their wife. They punching the microwave. They're sitting up here throwing the mayo jars on the floor.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
They're throwing their mayo packets from Five Guys on the floor and stomping on them. They're slinging the gluten-free macaroni across the room. And those butter and sugar sandwiches they make, they doing that, man. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough on them. Hell yeah, it's nothing but a trailer full of rice cakes on the floor getting stomped out. They're sitting at home snowed in, can't go anywhere. Now you stuck with this. Oh, it's rage, boy, it's rage. Can't stand this. Shut up and dribble. Yeah, it's a bunch of people with mustard and mayonnaise sandwiches and pinto, pork and beans, and some of those Jello fruit, frozen fruit, put in the ice cube trays, doing that thing right there. It's like, okay, there you go. It's all right, fine. Where's my stevia? It's a bunch of that going on, so they're gonna be trying to sit and kick back and watch reruns of Sons of Anarchy. What? It's gonna be they're gonna be trying to kick back and watch reruns of The Sopranos or something like that. And they big mad. They big mad this weekend. They is mad for real. And you know I am never one to let them not be mad for a reason. So in addition to everything else here, I just figured that while we were doing this, we would just take a moment to memorialize another great event in Black history. All right, folks, this was fantastic events in Black history. Great moments in Black history. For all the white supremacists out there and whatnot. This was the founding of Chairman's Day. What? Damn! You are watching the birth of a new holiday, Chairman's Day. Oh, you remember they say black folk can't swim. Remember that? Oh, hell. Remember they said black folk can't swim. Remember? Oh, this fella said, oh, it's going to be the Iron Man competition today. I'm finishing the swimming portion. I'm about to do the track and field portion. And then we're going to do the boxing portion. So, yes, we got, they inspired triathlism today. He said, let me get these shoes off right quick. It's track day. Yes, sir, folks. Another phenomenal moment in Black history. Another great moment in Black history. Oh, we done caught up to you. No, don't worry about arresting here. We're going to take care of this on the curbside. The police will just be in the way. Oh, look, y'all, we have another angle. Oh, no Palantir required for this. Hey, we tracked y'all down. No Palantir required. Oh, no. And it is on. You should have got your pontoons and left when you had a minute, because it is on. Oh, look, they caught a straggler. They caught a couple of stragglers. Oh, a couple of stragglers got caught slipping. You know, they need a monument. Y'all, they need a monument. It won't take up much room. We need to have a monument of a stone chair. I would like to have a monument of a stone chair erected there on the boardwalk. They're ready to go home. They're ready to go home. We'll call this January 7th. And this moment in Black history has been brought to you by the letters F, B, and A. Oh, we are seeing the birth of an American hero. We're seeing the birth of an American hero in front of your eyes, people. In the tradition of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. And look at even the sisters over there giving them the work. Oh, and the chairman is born. An American hero, the chairman is born. And a national symbol that we can all support. That's right, Granny. Granny Goodness should have left when the getting was good. You should have kept it with the gluten-free macaroni. The birth of an American hero, the chairman. And yes, just in case you thought that they didn't believe in equality, yes, sir, we believe in equality here. Coon niggas talking about he going to jail right there. You going to jail. There's always some coons around. Now, okay, why don't he do her the same damn way? Put a damn chair on her ass. That right there, what you just saw, that's the reason why he had to bop that other chick with a chair, because this is what they doing. Hell, if she had got popped with a damn chair, she wouldn't be causing trouble now. He was in the right. He neutralized the threat. It was self-defense. He was the same folk who support George Zimmerman will be telling you, oh, you can't do that right there. No, this is another great moment in black history, damn it. So all the white supremacists out there and whatnot, when we got a new video roll for Black History Month. So yeah, it's cool to show the Google thing. Don't get me wrong. It's cool to show that. And while I'm at it here, people, if y'all did not see this, I don't understand. Brothers, there was a boxing match like nothing you've ever seen in your lives that just happened. For those of y'all who didn't see it, he got his wig split. Literally.
Is it coming off? What is happening here? It is.
Oh, wow.
He's losing his hair. This before, but...
And then they went back and slowed it down. These damn sports people know they wrong as hell. They went back and slowed it down so you could see it.
Fighter is getting the hair.
I mean, they gave you the slow-mo replay. He didn't get knocked out or knocked over. Nothing. They just said, here's the slow-mo replay just in case you all didn't recognize what you were seeing. And these people ain't jack, y'all.
This before, but a fighter is getting the hair knocked off his head, Sergio.
Wow. That social media, that's like a cartoon.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Y'all, I want to say that they said that he got knocked off his head and folk were passing it around the arena.
Nigga, what?
They said folk were passing it around the arena and putting it on their heads, y'all. Now, I will say the good news is I believe he won the fight. I will say the good news is I think they said he went on to win the fight. So I'm like, yeah, brother, you got to win this. You and Adam 22 can't both take L's. Damn! I mean, Adam 22 done took the worst one. I mean, when a fella's sitting up here slam dunking your wife and then you get in the damn ring and he beats you up too, it's, oh man, Adam, you can't afford to lose that fight, Adam. You can't lose a fight to a fella who's on video. I mean, tongue twisting your wife. You can't lose that fight, Adam. You just can't. Get a chair, get a knife, get a brick. You cannot lose that fight, Adam 22. And you lost it. You can't lose a fight to a fella who's on video bragging about what he was doing with your wife. You can't ask for that fight and then lose it. You can do a life sentence, okay, but you can't lose that fight. This is the second one, y'all. Brother, a man can't be on video knocking your toupee off and you can't lose this fight. You just can't. Brother, no, not with pictures like this going around. This is life or death. This is life or death. You must win. You cannot lose. It can't even be a TK. You have to win this fight. Yo, everything depends on this, dude. Your career is over.
Wow, that social media, that's like a cartoon.
I mean, the memes make themselves, y'all. I mean, a lot of y'all thought you had a rough weekend. Oh, I assure you, none of y'all had a weekend as rough as his. I know a lot of y'all felt self-conscious in school. Maybe one time you wore some mismatched socks or something. Some of you fellas out there, maybe you got a bad haircut one time. And okay, you might have had a rough day. You ain't never had one like this. You've had some embarrassing self-conscious moments, and you ain't never had one like this. The other thing is, what the hell was he thinking? I mean, what the hell was he thinking? Dude, the glue is gonna come right off. So I don't know. He must have just ignored all the advice he was given and just said, I want to look. He probably told himself, well, don't worry. I'm going to beat this guy so quickly and I'm going to look good while I'm doing it. Oh boy, I had another plan for you. So it took a whole lot longer to get this done. So maybe he thought he would win the fight so quick that the glue would stick and he wouldn't have to worry about it coming off. But nah, bro, that's not the way it went. That's not the way it went. I guess he figured, well, what are the realistic chances that the other fella's going to get some solid shots on me? What are the realistic chances he going to get some solid shots? He's like, man, the chances are pretty damn good, bruh. The chances of him popping you a couple times are pretty damn good. Yeah, you see, you hit him on top of the head, and he ain't worrying about his hairline. His hairline is already gone. Yours about to be. So it's like, well, as long as he don't hit me in the face and the head, I'll be good. No. Oh, y'all saw his whole head blew up when this. Oh, yes. They put it in slow motion. You're going to see his whole head's about to inflate when he gets hit right there. Y'all see, oh, boy. Yeah, the hairline can't hold, dude. And he's got the gloves up here like this. No, bro, you trying to hold it in place. It's too late for that. It's too late for that. He's trying to hold the hairpiece in place. No, bro, no, your whole head about to blow up. That whole boom. Man, look here. Okay. Who in the hell was the cameraman? Yeah, with the other fella Lopez talking about he was sorry for slavery. Man, this was the craziest weekend in boxing y'all have ever seen. It's just, what the hell happened to sports? What the hell happened to sports, y'all? It was an insane weekend for this right here. So it's folks about to go back to watching UFC here in a minute. They're about to go back to watching UFC. So for those of you who didn't see it, Black History Month is off to a hell of a start. Can you imagine being a hair club for men client? Does anybody remember the hair club for men? Remember that? The hair club for men. It's like, okay, he's ready to be a spokesperson. He's ready to be a spokesperson. I can see the commercial now. You know, you may not ever be in a title fight like I was, but in the hair club of Oakland, California, you might not ever be in a prize fight of your life right there. But at the hair club of Compton, the specialists at the hair club of Compton, these are people that I trust. Whether you all have a business meeting or whether you have one of these tough social situations. So the hair club of Compton has you taken care of. Yeah, I mean, y'all thought Don King had the craziest hairpiece in boxing. Y'all just thought he did. Oh, these millennials and Gen Y, like, hold my beers. We're about to go viral. We're about to go intergalactic. The world is insane, man. The world is just insane. I don't know what to tell y'all. All right, let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom right quick. Let me see, was that everything? Was that everything? Actually, that was not everything. There was some other stuff I wanted to show too, but I'll get to that here in just a few moments. We'll get to that in just a few moments. I got folks sitting over here waiting on Zoom, so let me go ahead and pop in right quick. Oh, speaking of hairlines. All right, Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, big brother Jason. Good.
Yeah, speaking of hairlines, Brother Elijah, speaking of Turkish hairlines, by the way, you did the smart thing. You wouldn't have them Turkish people over there put yours in. This other fella tried to cheapskate it and glue him on a hairpiece. So Brother Elijah's like, hey, you should have been on the plane with me, brother. You wouldn't be in this situation if you had been on the plane with me. So it's Brother Elijah, if he skimped on it, so he should have just gone full price like you.
Yeah, but big brother, I got something else to show you before I ask.
I can see they redid the teeth too, y'all. So I saw that weeks ago. I saw when they put your veneers in weeks ago. I saw that weeks ago. I wasn't gonna say nothing about it, but I'm like, okay, he's blowing that little GI bill. He's blowing that little GI bill. I'm just telling y'all right now, when Elijah get everything together, ain't nothing gonna be safe. Nothing at all. Y'all don't understand. He's got about 2 decades of skirt chasing to make up for. So he is going to be out of control. Believe me, when he hit the ground, that's it. It ain't going to be nothing you can say. If he mess around and go buy him a BMW 7 Series or something like that so he can pick up the broads, oh, man, look. All right.
Yes, sir.
Don't ain't nothing with ovaries gonna be safe, y'all. Nothing at all.
Sir.
He gonna be around at the 50 and up club. I mean, just if he see anything, he just gonna start hitting the brakes.
Yes, sir.
Just at Publix, at Wawa. So if y'all see Elijah, hide your daughters, hide your aunties. Ain't nobody gonna be safe out here in just a minute. All right, Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, brother, I'm not gonna. I just came from the gym. All right. So
I tried to warn y'all. I'm not bull jiving. I'm warning y'all. When he get it together, that's it. It's gonna be him and a suitcase of Viagra, and your female relatives are fair game whenever, wherever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got a question. When we're talking about Elon, the nasty Musk, and Jeffrey the pervert Epstein, my whole thing is this. You was talking about with these two nasty devils. You was talking about how these politicians get their offices by knowing somebody big time and everything like that. So what you confirmed basically was Zoran Mondani. That was not a coincidence at all that New Yorkers were just tired and they wanted something new. He was just basically, in other words, he was just putting on a show.
No, they're feeding the pipeline. They're the ones who provide you with your so-called candidates. So you get, all you're doing right now is ping-ponging. That's what they have reduced America to, is ping-pong. Oh, you get tired of the Republicans abusing you, you go vote Democrat. Tired of the Democrats abusing you, go back and vote Republican. Tired of Republicans abusing you, vote back. And these are all candidates that they brought to you. Nobody who you chose yourself. So these are people that they already selected. Oh, you didn't like the last one? Well, hey, we found a new up-and-comer. Okay, who chose them as an up-and-comer? Oh, we did. Oh, the same folk who brought us the last 50.
Right. And big brother, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna land my plane. I'm wondering something, especially with the Democrats. I'll never forget you was doing a broadcast right here on this channel, and you mentioned, I'm not changing the conversation, big brother, but you mentioned the mayor when Elon Nasty Musk, all right, or I'll say the devil Musk, went down and took his operations out in Austin, Texas, and the mayor over there said, we're going to make Austin the San Francisco of Texas and everything like that. And you said right there on the spot, and you was 100% right, that should have been fighting words, because San Francisco was the true model of how you get rid of a black population economically and everything like that. And I'm always wondering now, how does our people continue to play these games with the same party, because we got to be honest, that was the Democrats. I'm out here in Los Angeles right now. It's the Democrats wiping us out. That's not really a Republican thing. I'm not caping for the Republicans. To hell with those bastards. But I'm saying, though.
You say you're in Los Angeles now?
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles right now.
Okay, y'all. He ain't gonna quit. He's scoping out all the spots now. He's gonna come back and the Hollywood stars. Okay, he's scoping out all the spots. He's documenting all the spots he's gonna come back to in a minute. So he's writing down everywhere. Okay, as soon as I get these 50 pounds off him, I'm coming back here. This spot here, this spot here. I mean, look, the bottom line is that we are the vanguard of all these things because we are the ones who set the trend for the culture. If America does glum onto a third party, we are going to be the ones who make that happen.
Yes, sir.
If we splinter off, we will be the ones who make that occur. So if we make it popular to go third party, that's going to be the thing that really opens up the lane, not Bernie Sanders, not this other garbage, because we're the only people who just owning the Democrats and Republicans is not going to ruin you with us. We have the culture of resistance. Right. So we've been waiting in the wings for that to happen. The real thing is we don't have the organization, don't have the proper funding for it, but we're already primed and ready as a people for that to occur.
Right.
So that's why we constitute a unique threat in that regard. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. We appreciate that. Yeah, y'all, I'm just man, look, he ain't going to be turned down nothing but his collar. That is it. The rest of y'all bull jiving. He went and got, the hair put in, the veneers put in. He's like, everybody been having fun except me. He is going to make up for all of it in 1 year. All right. If philandering becomes a felony, they coming for Elijah first. All right, let me see if we can get Charles up here on Zoom right quick. All right, we got Charles up here on Zoom. What's on your mind, Charles?
Hey, what's up, Jason? How you feeling? And it's not really surprising all these people being quiet nowadays because that's where they get their money. People forget that J.D. Vance, the reason why he's there because of Peter Thiel and all the money he has there, and his former buddy Elon Musk and all the other stuff, all the money behind there. It's just I feel like a lot of people are so slow on the uptake. And I think they're willing to be ignorant. They're willing, ignorant fools who would rather just keep doing the whole left and right, Democrat, Republican dance. Meanwhile, they're just like, we're just going to buy out all this other stuff and let the corruption continue to happen. And you put that stuff up there. There are some leaders, like, President Z does not, doesn't play with that. He says, no, you want corruption, you take it out.
If you want there to be uprisings and revolts, let the people in power become hopelessly corrupt, exploitative, and abusive of the people, because there's only so much of that they're going to take. I don't care where you are. There's only so much of that they're going to take, and eventually there's going to be a revolt. There's going to be an uprising. So if you don't take care of the problem and institute and initiate justice, as Brother Neely Fuller would have told y'all, If you don't do that, the people are taking it in their own hands. There's only so much injustice people are going to tolerate. If you don't produce justice, then you will leave it up to the people to produce it for themselves.
Malcolm X talked about this, the old speech, the ballot or the bullet. And it seems that people are, should really look into that more often. That speech and everything else. So... But otherwise, I just see people who are just doing a lot of this same old two-step of left and right.
Well, look, the thing is, it's become so blatant. The good thing about the Epstein files and stuff is because, these things come to a head. When you get this blatant with it, the stench becomes so overwhelming that people's iPhones don't distract them anymore. The iPhones don't distract them. The porn doesn't distract them. The rock concerts don't distract them. When you allow it to become so noxious and so overwhelming, that now becomes the big issue, and you can't move it off the front page. So it's a shame that it has to get to that kind of level, but in many ways, I think you're getting there to the point that people are like, okay, we got to do something about this. Something's got to be done about just this over here. Yeah, LGBT. We got to do something about this right here, and it becomes a factor. So I think you're just about there now. We will see what happens. We already know what they're going to do. the folk in charge are going to try to distract you, ignore it, tell you need to move on, and just see what happens after that.
Yeah, and the people hopefully will finally get out of that mindset, because I do talk to some folk who actually are about finally getting out of that mindset now. But there's a lot of fools out there, a lot of grifters, and a lot of fools out there who just want to still play that two-party shuffle.
Well, the judge just said that Luigi Mangione is not going to be up for the death penalty.
What? Yeah.
The judge just said Luigi Mangione is not eligible for the death penalty. They just took it off the table.
Yeah.
They just took it off the table. I'm just saying, okay. All right, y'all. If you don't think that something's afoot, there is no outrage. There aren't people outraged talking about, oh, you can't do that. Oh, this is terrible, horrible. No, Ben Shapiro tried that. It didn't work out very well for him. He's in such bad trouble now. He needs to start cheerleading for Mangione. But yeah, bro, we're here now. We are here now. Mangione is important because that's a canary in the coal mine. If what's supposed to happen is you clip a CEO and then they start talking about humanity, it's like, when the hell did United Healthcare have humanity for anybody? So they were gauging to see what was the public's response. Is the public willing to be tolerant of somebody from the wealthy oppressor class getting took out? And they found out, oh, hell yeah. So now that Overton window of morality that the Epstein class has been exploiting it to their advantage all this time, they found out, oh, that Overton window, there's two sides to every window. And looking at it from this side, okay, y'all are fair game. There's no public outcry. Nope. There are no politicians demanding anything different. You're against the people if you do that. So it's moments like this that constitute a milestone. Yes, people, if you do not believe that Luigi Mangione can get off, I got two words for you: jury nullification.
Damn! Yeah.
If the jury decides, yeah, we ain't doing that, okay, I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, man. This is, people are not, and I just, it's one thing that I want to get back to all these right wingers. Remember, when they had that part one of the Epstein files and all those right wing people were taking those pictures, like, yeah, we got this, like it was some type of weird version of like an MCU part one or part two, all that type of stuff. And they are, like I said, they are all silent. And every one of them, all the ones who are talking, I say, oh, I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want all this stuff, man, because again, they threw the rock and they hide their hand, and it's just the cowardice is deafening for these people. That is the sad part, is that these people cannot actually stand on their own 2 feet and say, hey, I made my mistake or what have you. Instead, they're just like, I was just ignorant. I didn't know what was going on, all this other stuff. No, nobody's ignorant. Everybody knows what's going on. There's just those who are going to stand up against it and those who are going to sit back and hope that nobody holds them accountable. Thank you very much. Give us a call tonight. Yeah, man, look, these are people who are running child sex rings. They're going to all these crazy Caligula parties with their child sex rings and their out of control drug rings. And in some cases, they're killing people for sport and for fun. They're running corporate. Elon Musk has a pile of dead bodies as a result of him building Tesla. If the car runs off a ditch, if the self-driving fails, if the brakes fail, if the batteries catch on fire and your ass burn up, Elon Musk is like, man, damn you, give me another super yacht. I'm on my way to St. Bart's. We're going to submit to the morality of these monsters? And you think that the public is going to turn against Luigi Mangione? And there's Elon Musk sitting on a pile of corpses so that he can be the richest man in the world, so he can rack up 15 baby mamas and a bunch of kids that he's fighting with? We're going to take morality cues from him, his own son. Daughter is airing him out. And we're going to take morality authority from him, morality lectures from him, or Bill Gates. Being crazy as hell, whatever they spiking the ketamine with nowadays. Speaking of which,
There was a story that I didn't get an opportunity to cover here before, but I wanted to go ahead and deal with that here before I get too far along, because I meant to cover this before. Talking about politicians who are no good and politicians who were bought off up there in Chicago. Remember about the meters? We've been talking about the parking meters now. I've been talking about the parking meters in Chicago for years, how Mayor Daley sold them off. When you talk about your corrupt politicians, it gets no more corrupt. Let me just say, I'm from Louisiana, and Chicago is the most corrupt city I have ever been in. And I'm from Louisiana. I just thought I knew what real corruption. Chicago is like a damn third world country when it comes to corruption. I mean, just everybody is crooked. I mean, gloriously, flamboyantly crooked. They're not just crooked and corrupt in Chicago. They are flamboyantly crooked and corrupt in Chicago. Well, the parking meters are up for sale. What? Oh, wait now. The folks who bought the parking meters, they paid $1 billion, they've gotten their $2 billion, they put it up for sale. Mayor Brandon Johnson says that the city is not going to buy the parking meters back. Mayor Johnson has said that no, the city is not going to buy the parking meters back. I will let Channel 7 give you all the details. Fair use, Channel 7, fair use.
The city's parking meters has been sold to another private company. The Johnson administration considered buying the meters back, but the mayor said the sale price was way too expensive.
So you got that there?
Within about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And
then
about 2 hours after that, it'll be moving into the western fringes.
Y'all having problems with the weather. We don't need that right there, sir. Let's see if we can go ahead and fix that right quick. But Mayor Johnson is letting y'all know that, by the way, don't worry about them parking meters. It would just be too expensive.
Company, the Johnson administration considered buying the meters. The city's parking meters has been sold to another private company. The Johnson administration considered buying the meters back, but the mayor said the sale price was way too expensive. Parking downtown at a meter spot costs $7 an hour, up from $3 an hour when the city owned the parking meters 17 years ago. In what has been called a disastrous, lopsided 75-year deal, then Mayor Richard M. Daley sold the meters to a private company for $1.15 billion.
They made about $2 billion in earnings, basically a year ago, or a little over a year ago. So they've already made their money back. For a company like this, it's easy to flip it to somebody else.
The current owner has now flipped it. Mayor Brandon Johnson said it sold to an unknown company for at least twice as much as the original price. For the past few months, the mayor's team looked into the possibility of buying the meters back.
We had our teams run the numbers and look at every variation of a potential deal. However, the more we looked into it, the more problems emerged.
Johnson says had the city bought the parking meters back, 100% of the parking revenues would be dedicated to paying off debt, which he says would eliminate the flexibility to lower rates or reduce the number of some parking meters.
Whatever reason, parking habits shifted and revenues were significantly reduced due to changes in user behavior, the city would still be responsible for 100% of the debt repayments. That represents an even greater level of risk than what we face with the current contract.
All right, let me explain something to you all about this outrageously corrupt, goof-off bastard, Brandon Johnson. First of all, even if the price was $2 billion, the original buyers got that $2 billion within 20 years, so it's not about that. And as far as, we'd have to be responsible for the debt. This is a guy who, racked up $100, $200, $300 million for illegals? The illegals showed up out of nowhere, and he was like, there ain't no budget. Ain't no budget. Now, when it comes time that actually the parking meters were available, and what do you know? Nothing changes. Now, for those of you who are asking questions about why didn't the city just take them back, Well, allegedly they tried. They took the issue to court. People have taken that issue to court. The judge has told them, nope, a deal's a deal. So all of a sudden, the city government doesn't have any power, and the judges are like, oh, nope, a deal's a deal. So that's what happened when they went to court over it. The court said a deal's a deal. So no, you can't undo it because a deal's a deal. Now, your black ass, if the city wants to say, we want to undo this deal, they're going to tell you, okay, well, we're undoing that. So this is not legal. This is just corruption. Somebody got to him. He got his little email to let him know, okay, yeah, you leave them meters alone. Yeah, the first folks, they bought it. They've set up here and bled your citizens. They jacked up the fees to over twice what they were before. And now somebody else is buying it. Chicago, get ready for $10 parking. What? Chicago, get ready to pay $10 or $20 to park on the damn street. You take a look at New York City and how much it costs to park in a garage there. Chicago, I'm just letting y'all know, they getting ready to hit y'all for $10 in parking. You were paying $3. Now you're paying $7. Next up, $10. Somebody says 13 already. I'm talking about on the street where the parking meters are. So maybe there are some meters that might have different rates or whatever. But then again, dynamic pricing. I'm talking about just run-of-the-mill parking in Chicago is $7 now, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're getting ready to get hit with dynamic pricing and they just gonna do y'all how they gonna do you. And Brandon Johnson, when he leaves office, just like all the others, these people sat up here and stole $1 billion, and Brandon Johnson's gonna be like Kamala Harris. All of a sudden, she's got $8 million to buy for a house, and she's not worried about the HOA fees or the taxes or anything else in the swankiest part of LA. Yeah, he gonna get his payoff when he's done. They're gonna slip him $10-20 million when he's done. And no matter what you do, nothing changes. So you're like, we need to take this to court. You took it to court, nothing changed. Well, damn, we got to wait 75 years for them to sell the damn things. Oh, it's up for sale. Great, the city can buy it back. Oh, we're not going to pay. No, we're just not going to pay for it. Well, we thought you wanted to fix this. That would cost too much. It would cost too much. The city is already a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. Yeah, that would be too much. Well, what if because he can't say they're not going to make enough money. Well, we have to pay all that to service the debt. Okay, that's not the point. The point is you're the city. You're the ones who determine what debt is. You're the ones who determine what the debt is. So if y'all don't pay the damn thing, they can take you to court. Okay, we're the city of Chicago. We'll get around to paying you when we get around to paying you. Folks, when you're the city of Chicago, it's like, okay, once they sell it to you, it's like, okay, we're going to renegotiate this deal. All right, we'll pay this here. And now that we got that, all right, we'll renegotiate it. Cities do that all the damn time for you all. When the city owes you something, you get the runaround, you get the stalling game. They have no problem doing that to you as a citizen. But these corporations, oh, well, we can't stiff them now. We got to make sure we do right by them. So it takes the people getting fed up and tired of corruption just being the way things are. But just in case you thought that anything was different in Chicago here, no, they are as vaingloriously, flamboyantly corrupt as they have always been. These are Jeffrey Epstein's culture. He knew he could buy everybody off because they are all villainously, criminally corrupt. This is why Jeffrey Epstein had his hooks in everybody, because this is the caliber of individual that the system is grooming to be in politics. Let's go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again here right quick. And let me see if we can get Kyle up here on Zoom for me now. Okay, I'm looking for Kyle. There you go, Kyle. What's on your mind?
How you doing, sir? Excellent broadcast as usual. Very informative. I just had one question. I'll be brief. I wanted to know if you think honestly that there's going to be anything that comes of these Epstein files from the DOJ to state and local law enforcement. Is anyone going to be held accountable? That's my only question, sir.
The only way that would happen is if you found a smoking gun, concrete evidence of abuse happening, and that's not going to occur. Let me explain to you why. First of all, it's from all sides. That's the first thing. The politicians are implicated, so they have a vested interest, as we know, in not disclosing everything. The corporations are involved. They pay the politicians, so they have a vested interest against it. Law enforcement at both the federal and the state level corroborated and colluded on it too.
Absolutely.
So they can't afford to say anything. And then, of course, we come to the victims. As unsavory as what I'm about to say may seem, I don't think you're going to get very far from them either. If those women actually had anything, they would have been used it. Virginia Giuffre was the only one who had something and got Prince Andrew to pay her off. But let's be honest, brother. In a world of Tony Busby attorneys running around suing Diddy and other folk, why is it these other folk ain't got sued? Why is it nobody said anything about them? These females got together threatening that they were going to name names. Okay, it's been how many months later and they ain't said a word yet?
Years later.
Please, well, last year, remember, they all got together on the Capitol Hill steps threatening things or whatever. If they don't say, we'll say the names if they won't. Okay, we're just like, okay, let's stop bull jiving around. Say the damn names. Yes. If somebody raped you, say who it was. You can't sit up here and claim that you're afraid of something there. You can't complain that you're not getting any support when you won't say who it was. We don't know who we're protecting you against. And that's the kind of thing that makes it seem like, y'all might just be bag chasing. Let me just say it like that. Hey, y'all might have heard you went to Epstein Island and you really don't want the files to come out like that, because if it blows the cover, well, then you don't have anything to hold over their heads because the government's going to put their names out anyway. So if the government puts their names out, you lost your leverage. And there that goes. So the only thing you can do now is have evidence. But if you don't have that, and it looks like they don't, if you don't have that, then the biggest ambulance chasing attorney in America can't help you. Because in reality, there isn't any real concrete evidence. We know Jeffrey Epstein was into some stuff, and we know he was transporting some people, but I will just be honest with you. The females who claim they were victims, they're not being very helpful. They are not being very helpful. All of them could get together right now and just start naming people. And I think there's a very solid reason why they're not doing it. And we're going to have to start admitting that some of y'all trying to run a little scam. And them dudes know it. Some of you are trying to run a scam and them fellas know it. The few of you who are not, you've already been paid off. I think the ones who actually got the goods, they've already been paid off and NDA'd and every damn thing else.
And that was my next question. Just as far as why they are not coming forward, have things already been settled, and these different law enforcement agencies, federal, state, and local, they don't have even enough to start an investigation.
Well, even if they. All right, the bottom line is the smoking gun, if you really want to be able to dissect this thing, is the one piece of evidence that nobody's put out there, Jeffrey Epstein's financials.
Indeed.
They have the records at Chase Bank. So we know where the money came from and where he sent it to. So that right there is what you really need. That's the one thing that nobody's disclosing, showing, talking about, subpoenaing. Nobody's doing that. So that tells you where the smoking gun really is. As far as getting down to the nitty gritty of who was trafficking, well, if anybody was paying for anything, if they were, his financials will show you. So, and that's the part right there that nobody's showing. So that tells you, okay, there must be something in there, because you can't get rid of bank records. Chase has got those. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody even wants to mention it outside of a few YouTubers and myself. Okay, that tells you that's where, yeah, we're going to find the real fingerprints over there. But as far as physical witnesses, as far as, physical victims, I think that's your biggest stumbling block, because I don't think that they're cooperating. I don't think that they are. I think that some of them feel some kind of way and some of them are saying stuff, but in reality, they're either showboating or grandstanding or attention clout chasing, but they are not acting like victims of a crime. And I'm just going to say it just like that. They're not really doing what we need them to behave like victims of a crime. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. And Gloria already ain't been able to get them to make them do it. That's the part right there that should be very ominous to you. All these lawyers who would be thrilled to take up their cases, and they're not really going down that road. All they're trying to do is shame the government, allegedly, but they're not actually being proactive. So, you've been paid off. And I'm just saying, the ones who actually probably got the real evidence, they've been paid off, and you're not going to hear from them. The ones squealing are the ones who are on the fringe. And they can't really prove it. So they want the government to put the information out because they don't actually have any. All they got is hearsay.
Makes sense. Thank you, Jason, for all you do. We appreciate you.
Thank you for giving us a call. I mean, if y'all want to know what's really going on, basically that's my analysis of it is the chicks who are out there, they're not really credible. They don't actually have anything concrete. The few who did, they've silenced them either by paying them off or knocking them off. And the ones who remain, they're hoping that the government can drop some evidence that they can use, but they don't actually have the goods on their own. They don't actually have it. They don't. All right, let's go ahead and jump back over here on Zoom again for you here. Let me see if we can get one brother up here on Zoom for me. Yeah, y'all, I mean, that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be. So, barring some unforeseen phenomenal event, no, it won't be that. All right, one brother, what's on your mind?
B1, a good evening, sir. Thank you for these programs this weekend, especially in the context of the huge cover-up that's going on. I just have two quick questions. First, you've outlined, obviously, how big a player that Epstein was or is, but at the same time, how this is a giant cabal. So I was wondering, in your view, how is it best to view this more as a hierarchy or as a network or something like a hybrid between the two or something else?
I mean, it's a network, it's a mafia, it's a cult, it's a cartel. It is the government, and it is corporate America. If you want to know what Elon Musk wanted all this money for, this is what he wanted it all for. Take a look at his sex habits and whatnot. Jeffrey Epstein to the side. You see what the hell's going on? The Diddy parties were not places for newbies. Nobody was at the Diddy party, and that was their first time doing something like that. They went to Diddy because he had the flyest parties. So these people, they like, quote, partying, and they're looking for the person who can be the hostess with the mostest. So they go to the people who can do that. Nobody showed up at Epstein Island, and that was their first time doing this. They were looking for the most exciting, most engaging, most valuable place to do what they've been doing. They're looking for the best club in town. They're all clubbing, and they're looking for the best one. Sometimes it was Diddy. Sometimes it was Epstein. Sometimes it was Heidi Fleiss. Sometimes it was whoever the madam was with Governor Elliot Spitzer. Oh, brother, y'all don't want to do this. We'll be here all damn day. There's a whole bunch of folk running stuff like that. So they're all over the place, and you might not be the whores. You might be the madams. You might be the pimps, or you might be the organizers and promoters. And being the plug is very, very important, especially if you're racking up files and evidence. So when it comes to an Epstein or a Diddy, they're keeping names. Yeah, we want to know everybody who was here, what they was doing, who they was doing it with, how they was doing it. Yeah, let me just go ahead and snap a few photos here. All right, let me put that in my back pocket. What did Lord Varys tell you on Game of Thrones? The contents of a man's papers is more valuable than the contents of his purse. So we got information on you. It's like, okay, might want to use this one day. If nothing else, okay, we know you one of them boys who like them boys. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. You're one of them boys who like them boys. You like doing them drugs. You like doing this stuff over here. And remember, you can't operate in those circles if you don't. Diddy could host the parties because Diddy could do the drugs and could sleep with all the girls like the rest of them fellas could. So he wasn't just sitting there on the damn wall looking at y'all. That would be suspicious as hell. Oh, come on, that's what police do. Remember, if you want to invalidate a police investigation, if they're investigating prostitutes learned about that a while ago, which is why the police have had to get a whole lot sneakier about how they bust hookers, because hookers started figuring things out. If you want to invalidate a case, remember, the police cannot engage in any type of sexual activity with the prostitutes.
Right.
So in some cases, you'll be like, the prostitutes got wise to the game. What the prostitutes used to do is be like, okay, you can't get anything until you pay for it. But what the prostitutes started doing when folks started getting busted was say, okay, they start talking to a guy. If she gets suspicious, she tells him, grab my breasts. So she'll lean in the car and stuff, and she's like, what do you want? He said, you want this? Grab my breasts. If you say no, you've already, okay, you just told on yourself without her having to say anything else. So they learned that, okay, if he touches me in any kind of way, that invalidates the case. So it's like, okay, so even if he tries to arrest me, it's like, that's already over. Prostitutes learned about that decades ago. They learned that decades ago. So if you're sitting at one of these parties and these people are like, damn, Jason, you know all these vices. People, you need to learn tactics. Be students of tactics. We cannot afford to be squares in a place where everybody is putting together schemes. We can't afford to be squares on stuff, people. Maybe we ain't got to indulge in it, but we cannot afford to be squares. We can't. The world is run by the degenerates. The square folk can't afford to be naive because the degenerates know everything about you. You better know everything you can about them. So in any case, that was what the prostitutes learned. Well, guess what? If you got them kind of parties, bruh, folk are going to notice if you the one ain't doing nothing. And that's going to make them uncomfortable. So it's like either you don't like doing this or you're doing this for some other reason. No, neither of those is good. So if you are hosting an Epstein party, you got to be sleeping with the girls. You got to be doing the drugs. You got to be doing all that. And he was, and they were. He was, and they were. And that's the only reason it could happen.
That makes sense. Also why it's so damning if anyone's in the pictures, especially more than a few, who basically know they belong to the same gang. It's the same situation. Birds of a feather flock together. And my other question was, you mentioned yesterday something that was interesting and made a lot of sense of how they've always switched the tactics they took against us, going from a non-activist government and just ignoring us to actively neutralizing, so to speak, our leaders and what have you. I'm wondering, can this situation get to a point against them in terms of the magnitude of all these eyeballs on them that they have to shift their own tactics of how this is working, or is that the AI piece that you were talking about, where that comes in, just
No,
controlling?
look, I've taught you all for 2 decades now. White supremacy is an evolutionary organism. That's the thing that, trips people up. The goal is always the same. The strategies and the tactics to accomplish the goal, that has to shift. To see it from their perspective. From their perspective, we're the bad guys. So every time that they figure out a way to corral us, we somehow keep figuring out a way to circumvent it and get around it, which of course forces them to have to come up with a better mousetrap. Every time you come up with a way of evading them or eluding them or escaping them. Okay, what do we got to do to make this mousetrap more secure? So introducing a new mousetrap. That's the situation that you're in from their perspective. So the tactics are going to change. They know you're going to talk, you're going to get smarter about it. So they're always going to be chasing a new strategy to corral you and to trap you. There are things that work on the majority of people, but eventually you reach a critical mass where it's no longer practical anymore. If this thing only, for example, you would not keep a car or use a product that only worked 50% of the time. If half the time you use it, it doesn't work, you're really going to want to get rid of it if it's only 50% effective. So if for strategies, drugs, products, or whatever, you're really looking for something that hits around 80, 90%. 8 or 9 times out of 10 that people use it, it works. Well, okay, now that's an effective one that should remain in use and remain employed. Once we start slipping below, in my opinion, that 25%, 30% threshold, now you have to start reevaluating this tactic, this product, whatever. Is this really worth how much effort we put into it and how much we're continuing to put into it? Are we getting the returns we need? Or are we having so much lossage that this really doesn't matter? Or we can leave this in place, but we need to put something else on top of it. This by itself isn't really effective enough. So, that's why they bring in the drugs, you bring in the religion, you bring in these things. This decade after decade, we shake one off, we shake another one off, and then they have to try to put that together again. So no, it's an evolutionary organism. It is always refining itself. It's always gauging you to see what works against you and what doesn't. When something stops working, we discard that or we push it to the rear, implement something else, see how that works. And if it proves effective, okay, dump a bunch of money into this. And then we'll see how long that runs until you catch on to it and figure it out. And then we'll rinse and repeat and try to get you in another one.
Every time it doesn't seem like the system can get more depraved. It's just like the next story comes out. But I'll end by playing with that. And thank you for the program, sir. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, look, white supremacy is an evolutionary organism. What it is doing, that is what it is going to continue doing. As far as they're concerned, we're the bad guys, and it's their job to catch us and stop us. It's their job to catch us and to stop us. And if we figure out how to evade capture, it's their job to build a better mousetrap to catch us again. So, this is where we at. Welcome to the United States of Epstein. All these people are in on it. Anybody from the old broadcast media system, corporate America, whatever, they are all a part of this depraved, degenerate religion. They are all in on it, and they all see themselves as playing against you. They pretend to be Democrats, Republicans, conservatives, liberals. I told y'all this for years and years. By the way, it's coming to fruition exactly the way I told you. Twin wings on the bird of white supremacy. They try to fool you into thinking there's some distinction. Oh, we're liberals, we're conservatives. I told you all these are labels. These are labels. You did not make these labels. You didn't create these terms. These were terms that were foisted to you by other people. You didn't create them, which means they don't apply to you. And when we take a look at the folks who they claim it does apply to, what do you know? There isn't really any distinction between them. They just use these labels to make you think there's a distinction. But when it gets down to execution, oh, they're all on the same team and all against you. Jason, what do we do about it? As I mentioned here last night, we have to be on code. We have to be on code. On code means adhering to our culture of resistance. On code means that we are observant. On code means that we are intelligent. Intelligent Black society. On code means that we are documenting these things. On code means that we are not naive. We are nobody's fool. On code means that we have a system of principles and values that are resistant to this kind of corruption. When you have men who are motivated by their purpose and women who are motivated by their virtues, you become impervious to this kind of corruption. When you start wanting to dabble in indulgences and hedonism, now you become vulnerable to it. When you allow these people to start dragging you into these things and get you to compromise your principles that you know are right, when you start compromising, they just need you to do it once or twice, just a little bit, and from there, gotcha. If you are unconcerned with what you do with your sex organs, gotcha. If you are vulnerable to taking drug substances, gotcha. If you're a person who can never be pleased and you're constantly chasing the next excitement and the next dopamine hit and the next high, gotcha. If you're a person who is easily distracted by exotic females or exotic males, whether you are male or female, gotcha. If you are a person who worships money, gotcha. Let me just stop for a minute there and correct that for some of the back of the slow bus, back of the short bus kids. I don't worship money. I respect money. I respect money. I don't worship money. You cannot, the problem with Jeffrey Epstein was these people were willing to let him put a price on the bodies of their children. A person with any type of core principles cannot and will not allow that kind of thing. I know that Michael Jackson was innocent because when these people tell you that he paid them $50 million, I'm like, wait a minute. How much does somebody got to pay you to be able to let you allow them to molest your kids? I'm looking at you now. Wait a minute. You said that he raped your kids. He sure did. But you didn't prosecute him. Nope. Why not? He paid me $50 million. So $50 million. Your child's body is worth $50 million to you? $50 million and you don't care what somebody does with your kid. I'm not looking at him anymore. I'm looking at you now. Wait a minute. Who the hell are you? You see, when your principles and your core principles are guiding you and are solidly in place, that's the response and the reaction you have when you hear something like that. You don't get misled about celebrities. I'm like, hold on a second. Back it up a minute. Somebody paid you money and you walked away. You didn't want to punish them anymore because they paid you enough to lay up with your kid? And that was cool with you after that. You can live with that. You all right. You don't want them in jail. You're just like, okay, break me off enough dollars and we'll call it even. Really? That's a person who worships money. And they're looking for people who worship money because these people have unlimited money. They create money. So if you worship money, yeah, money might be precious to you. These people, they create money. Money is air to them. As long as you worship it, they'll own you. The bodies of your children are sacred. The bodies of your children are sacred. Your children are your legacy. So whether we are talking about abortion or teenage sex, listening to Cardi B or any other degenerate they float out there and flop on stage in front of you, your culture of resistance and your core principles are supposed to be able to decipher that reflexively. That's just will be a reflex you have. Anything that starts the process of putting a price on your children, whether it's somebody telling you that they're just a glob of non-viable cells in the womb, or whether they tell you, well, don't worry, the rich man over here says for $25 million we can let this go. When you start down that road of devaluing the priceless, you have compromised the necessary principles. That's what we do. When our code is solidly in place, we immediately recognize and identify anybody who is not in line with our code. And that is our protection and our shield, is our ability to immediately determine and identify who is off code and who's working against our interests. And as long as they can't fool you into that, they've lost the one thing they came for. I'm going to close the program by wrapping it up with this. The entire strategy of the great European colonial project of the last 1,000 years was to create a global system of white privilege and white aristocracy based upon their race. To create a permanent white aristocracy. That was the goal. What are the tactics used to implement that goal? Well, chattel slavery, keeping everyone under control and everyone in line, like the movie Equilibrium to an extent, keeping you controlled so that the system will simply remain in place. Any dissidents or anybody who don't roll with it, AI immediately identify them, and then something will happen to remove them as a threat. But you see, they learned centuries ago that chains and shackles are a problem. If you are required to leave your slave in chains and shackles, you have a problem. Because the slave cannot deny that he is enslaved when he's got chains and shackles on him. You can't tell him not to fight you when he can clearly see the chains and the shackles on him limiting his movement. He gets up every day and he can't deny that he is your slave. So we have to embark on the greatest strategy of all. How do you keep him a slave who accepts his servitude? Well, you got to get rid of those physical shackles. We have to enslave something else. The shackle can't be on his ankle anymore. The shackle's got to be around his heart and his mind. And if you can master that, well, now you've got a shackle that follows him wherever he goes. You will not have to keep him on the plantation. He will call the plantation home. Prisons are expensive. Shackles are expensive. As I said, and Brother Neely Fuller confirmed it, an open air prison is what you ultimately want. A prison with no physical walls, no physical shackles, no physical handcuffs, no physical cells. But we can stop your movement or stop you at any time. An open air prison. Right, you can geographically go wherever you want to, but if I control everything, it doesn't matter where you are. You're in my prison no matter where you go. And go is a relative term because I can restrict where you go. You can't ever come where I am. And the areas you are permitted to go, I can limit those. That is the ultimate strategy. An open air prison that can control and track and monitor and punish all of your slaves. These are cliches that you've heard people use now for centuries about they put shackles around your mind. We realized that after we got off the plantations. Hell, we realized that on the plantations, that most of us were not in physical shackles on the plantation. Hundreds of years later, they have never let that strategy go. They have simply refined the techniques. And now that you realize that, once you realize the tactics, once you realize what that cell phone in your pocket is really for, once you realize what that social media website is really for, once you realize what those video games on your phone are really for, once you realize what your sex obsession and your clothing obsession is really for, maybe now you got a chance of waking up, or should I say breaking your shackles. Now that you see you're their slave, now that you identify and recognize it, choice to be made. Now that you know. And not everyone is going to break their shackles, not everyone, but some will. And the ones who do, just like the Matrix, they're going to go try to recruit others to get them to break their shackles. And next thing you know, 10%, 20%. I mean, we got 80% of control, yeah, but there's 20% that ain't. And that number's probably going to get bigger. That's the power of being on code. Don't let anyone deceive you into thinking that simply having control of your mind isn't an incredible power in and of itself. Because remember, they need you to sign back up for their program every morning. Every morning that all of you get up, every morning that you and your kids get up, they need all of you to recommit every morning to sign back up with the program, go back to picking the cotton, ignore all the atrocities, stay a part of their code and system and not yours every day. And the first day that you get up and they say, all right, time to get back with the program, and you say, yeah, no. What are you doing? You're not going to do the program? No. What are you going to do? I'm going to stand right here. Where are you going? I'm not going anywhere. I'm standing right here and you won't move me. Do you realize the system at that moment is going to turn on every alarm and ring every bell and sound every alarm and every siren? We've got one. He refuses to move. We told him where to go. We told her where to go. She's refusing to move. You can't say that this person is a subject of your kingdom and the kingdom has told them to move, told them what to do, and that person says no. Well, that person's not a member or a subject of your kingdom now, are they? Just in case you thought that the simple act of standing still wasn't powerful, the kingdom told you to move. Folks, let the police come around. If the police tell you to move and you say no, or better yet, you don't say anything at all, you just don't move. Do they sit there and be like, okay, everything's fine? Or do they all start gathering around? Oops, we got a problem. When they say move and you don't move, oh, there's a problem right then, right there, right now. You want to defeat the United States of Epstein? It doesn't end, but it starts with you and me and us and we being on code. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, holidays, some days in between. Click that subscribe button, that notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to blackchannelfilms.com, check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is resistance.